Everybody to Offside and Out of Bounds, the cast. This is episode 2 of our weekly podcast vlog show, where we're going to cover a few topics from the week and also update you on a couple other things going on. So Junior, as always, I'm here with Junior. So Junior, are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay, we continue with our beer bracket starting off. Junior, why don't you highlight the 2 beers for us?
Yes. So today we have the Muskoka Brewery's craft lager. Like the region it's from, our all malt Muskoka craft lager is a getaway from the average. That's because it's carefully aged and handcrafted to be uniquely flavorful, yet remarkably easy drinking. Check your date code, as our beer is best fresh as a result of our pure, natural, unfiltered brewing process. Date code is checked, and it's a fresh.
It's a fresh.
And it is going up against ZYWIEC. And this is a Polish beer. Since the very beginning, ZYWIEC beer has been brewed in only one place, the Archduke's Brewery in ZYWIEC. When it comes to beer, we are uncompromising. This is why ZYWIEC is brewed exclusively from 3 ingredients. Gotta like that. Malted barley, hops, and pure mountain water. ZYWIEC is always from ZYWIEC.
Love it. Which one are we starting off with here?
Let's go with the hometown here, the Muskoka.
Muskoka? Where are these seated, Junior? Do you know? Remember? We'll find it out.
This is 3-6.
3-6. Okay. With I'm assuming Muskoka at the higher seed?
Muskoka is 6, yes.
All right.
It's got a very nice pour.
Nice color. This is from our lager region.
And we're almost going to be wrapping this region up very shortly.
Yeah. I think the NBA preview show.
Yeah.
Preview. All right,
Salute.
June. Wow. That's a ton of flavor. That's very flavorful.
Very flavorful, very light too.
It's got a citrusy feel to it.
Yeah, it does. It's got like a little bit of a I wouldn't say fruity back end, but it finishes really nice. That's a nice, backyard cottage sitting at the dock type of beer. Impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, really nice, really nice. Tastes really good. Kudos to Muskoka. I don't drink a lot of craft beer, so this is
No, either do I.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, Junior, we wrapped up our previous contest. I'm seeing PS5 giveaway. I mean,
is that for real? Are we giving away a PS5?
I don't know, man. Is this a real thing?
Well, it's on the deck.
Okay, so then it must be real.
It's got to be real. I mean, if it wasn't, we wouldn't put it on the deck, would we?
Not usually. Usually the deck stuff is pretty standard for us. It's a staple. So,
just as a side note here, YouTube nor anyone else is involved with this. This is us on our own accord. We will be releasing a video in the next coming days, officially announcing it with the rules to this contest and what has to be done in order to gain your free entry. The only stipulation to this is you do need to be above the age of 18, as most of our videos are for 18 and over. So that is the only stipulation there. There will be tons of ways to get tons of different entries. There's 4 or 5 different avenues that you can walk down to grab yourself an entry in there. And there's no limit on what you can do. You can do everything 1,000 times if you want to. That's going to get your name into the draw that we're going to be pulling. And I think we have that set for NBA championship preview show.
That sounds about right. Yeah, that makes sense. It's about probably likely a month away. But check out the video to see all the contest details below once we get that all set up or when that video drops. Junior, I don't have a PS5 yet. Can I enter?
Go ahead, man.
I waited in so many queues for that machine, man. I just gave up, and I was just looking to get back into gaming. So I was like, oh yeah, PS5, sure. Pandemic makes sense. Let me grab a video game system so I can play in my office here.
Yeah, we had to go. We had to go on the secondary market, and that's how much we love our fans and the potential fans. We're putting money where our mouth is.
All right, so that was the legal disclaimer from Junior there. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's move on from that. Let's go to Garyvee. So he's doing something with NFTs.
Yeah, the face of get out there and build your NFT in Garyvee has dropped his own NFT. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's been preaching how important these things are going to be for the future and how you need to get on the ground floor right now while it's still applicable. So he came out with Vee Friends Discord. So basically, it's doodles that he's come up with, and he's given them some kitschy names. But the great thing about them is that they're accessible and they're not expensive. Like you can grab, one of ones for a couple of bucks, and you can grab certain variations and things for just a few dollars. And I mean, it's affordable. So those people who are kind of worried about getting into the NFT market, it's a great way to do it. Kind of along the lines of Top Shot. So
we're big fans of Top Shot. If you haven't seen our openings, I think we got one coming up maybe this week.
Shout out to Dapper Labs, absolutely phenomenal product.
Yeah.
But I like that he's putting his time and effort into what he's preaching. Yeah. But that's what Garyvee does. If the guy's going to talk about something, he's in on it, and he's not going to shy away from it. So respect for coming out with that. Am I going to dabble in it? I don't know. I might, just to say I've got one. I might grab one, jump on board a little bit, but I'm definitely not going to be too crazy on them.
Well, the thing with Garyvee is when he does something, people pay attention. When he speaks, people are listening, right? So, if he's been talking about the NFTs, and I had to take a bit of a break from Gary because I was just kind of getting Gary. Like every time I turned onto anything, IG, Instagram,
he's all over the place.
LinkedIn. I mean, he was just everywhere I turned. There was a Garyvee thing. So I'm on a little Gary hiatus for the moment, but it's interesting to find out what the real end game is here, because Gary's always got a few tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah.
The fact that he's going to monetize on some of these NFTs, that's one thing, but I'm sure there's something much bigger behind that. So, kind of stay tuned for that. It'll be interesting. Big fan of Garyvee though. I just had to take a moment away because it was just every time I turned on anything, Garyvee was right there. So
he's consumable,
Still a big shout out to Garyvee because love your content, man. How's this beer tasting, Junior? It's
going down pretty nice. I have to admit,
really delicious.
I'm impressed. To be honest with you, I'm impressed.
This is the first time I had Muskoka.
I've never had it either.
Yeah, no, this is not a beer I would. I mean, the can is really nice. I don't know if you got a good shot of that. It's a beautiful can. Yeah. Shout out to Muskoka. I could definitely see this in the rotation.
That's what I'm saying. Like right beside the ones that I heavily consume, just mix one of these in there. It's definitely there.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move along here to the Hall of Fame NBA. Some big players from a very, very strong era. One of my personal favorite eras. We have Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, and Kevin Garnett highlighting this Hall of Fame team of inductees. I believe there was 9, a couple of NCAA players, and some other coaches and whatnot. But these are the guys that we want to talk about. Let's break it down maybe by player. I think
so.
Yeah, I think they each deserve their own shine here. So let's start with Tim Duncan. We kind of mentioned him on our NBA play-in preview, where we talked about his quietness on the court, but his ability to command the basketball. Put up a lot of rebounds, a lot of points, sound, champion. This is obviously it was long determined that he was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no. Let me just say one thing quickly about Tim Duncan. I'm not going to go into too much of a diatribe because I did yesterday on the back of that. He is the prototype for a pro. When you call a guy a pro, it's a guy that doesn't talk too much. He goes out, he does his business, carries that lunch pail. But this is a guy who carried a lunch pail and put up 20 and 20. Coming from a small little island out of the middle of nowhere, playing over at Wake Forest.
So dominant at Wake Forest.
Yeah, he was. And Pop just like focused in on him to set up that Twin Towers with Sean Avery. And, excuse me, that team, the minute he got there was just ridiculous.
David Robinson, the Admiral, which I just found out made a lot of money.
He did
after his NBA career.
Mm-hmm.
I was just watching something on YouTube earlier today or yesterday, and it was like he's made like over $200 million after his career. Unbelievable! Hats off to the Admiral.
Sometimes guys are smart with their money.
Very smart.
But what I'll probably remember Tim Duncan the most for is the three characters you get in NBA Jam: David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Sean Avery. And I used to love playing with those three guys. Still my go-to right now. I've got a little hacked SNES. So when I hop on that NBA Jam, I'm still playing with the Spurs. But love Tim Duncan. Love everything he brought to the game. Loved his attitude and the fact that he never changed who he was, no matter how big he got and how much money he made. So congrats and, all the best to him in his future endeavors.
Yeah, you know what? The one thing about Tim Duncan is a lot of people might say that he wasn't really a leader, and I don't agree with them. He was a quiet leader. He's just a different type of basketball player. He's there with his lunch pail, and he's ready to go to work. I mean, I don't think anybody in maybe the history of the NBA put so many backboard shots up. And this guy loved the glass.
Yeah.
To that little turnaround, a little hook, whatever the case is. Just an unbelievably composed player with a ton of talent. And, I don't think – I wonder sometimes if he wasn't in San Antonio, would he have had such a great career? I think somebody agrees and somebody's upset about that.
Yeah, she's upset about it right now. She's voicing her concern about how disrespected Tim Duncan gets.
On his leadership skills.
Yeah.
So do you Junior, I got a question for you. Do you think he would have been as effective on another team? Do you think he was just destined to be one of those players? Or do you think living in San Antonio with Pop really made him who he was? Because the talent was there at Wake Forest, and you saw the early development there. But, I mean, you're talking about a premier coach.
I mean, let's be honest. He wasn't a second-round pick, He wasn't a guy they found on the trash heap. This was one of the top players in the country. But I think, if you look at that time in terms of the league, if he went to somewhere like Portland with Cliff Robinson and Drexler, or he went to LA where Magic and Worthy were, he could have gone into Boston where you would have got the end of the year line of Robert Parrish and Larry Bird. I mean, send him down to Houston. I just think the environment that Pop had created in San Antonio built a winning culture, his style of coaching, and just how approachable Pop is. The one thing he said in his speech was, he didn't really thank him for teaching him about basketball. It was like, thank you for teaching me about life and how to act and how to be. So
he's a very shy person, right?
He is.
In general.
He's an introvert. He was an introvert.
Look at his style even.
Yeah. He dresses like he's, a 16-year-old kid in 1993 Seattle. He's not really worried about what people think about his
with those plaid shirts.
With those plaid shirts. But regardless, he's where he belongs right now.
I'm just looking it up here because I had to see, and this might surprise a lot of people who might be listening. And this might even surprise you. And I think this is a correction actually on our play-in show. We said the last center to win was Shaq in 2000. But they actually list him on this other site as a center. And they have him listed at winning. How many MVPs do you think Tim Duncan won?
3.
So he won 2.
Oh.
But he went back to back.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
He pulled the Steve Nash before Steve Nash, and I actually said on the play-in show,
0203,
the last center. When you asked me who was the last center to win it, I said Tim Duncan.
You did. You're right, and so I stand corrected. And you know what? His partner in crime, the other twin tower there, David Robinson, was the MVP in '95.
Yep.
Interesting stuff. Wow, I actually did not know that he went back to back on that.
Mm-hmm. He pulled the Steve Nash before.
Is this Finals MVP? No, this is MVP. I gotta double check that. Very interesting stuff. Let's move on to Kevin Garnett, the big ticket.
Let's leave the other one for last.
Let's leave the real one for last.
Yeah.
Not that they're all not real, but there's something different about the Mamba.
Yeah. For me, Kevin Garnett, I think it might be a love-hate relationship with him. I never really liked him. Didn't really like his style of play. Didn't like that he talked so much, especially when he was in Minnesota, the way he talked around the league and talked about how he was like the best and, on a bad team. If he were to have gone around like Tim Duncan did and was just quiet about it and put up his 30 and 18, then it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
And then, getting him over to Boston and, just what they did to the Raptors those few years definitely hurt. So that's where the hate came in.
Anything is possible.
Yeah. And, I still don't love him. I love to hate him, but he likes that kind of attention. So, good on him, but you got your rings, you're in the hall. So congrats, Kevin Garnett. I mean, not much more I can say about that.
I'm a little bit different. So I always kind of had a bit of a love for Kevin Garnett. I really liked him and Stephon Marbury and that story. And if you haven't seen that Starbury documentary, the name escapes me right now on Netflix. Good little watch. But the energy that the two of them had together before the eventual fallout, due to Kevin Garnett getting such a big contract, and then Stephon Marbury, who was actually carrying that team for the most part, didn't get that type of money. Yeah. People were walking around the league saying, "Hey, I got that Kevin Garnett money."
Yeah.
Right? Or I want that Kevin Garnett money. I had an opportunity to see him play a couple times, in the Scotiabank Arena, formerly ACC. And I like him. I like his energy. I like the trash talk. I like to see a guy with a personality and a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. That's what gets me excited about basketball. It's not the only thing, but it's definitely something when I like to see a person's charisma and character really run through. Big Ticket was great for me. I enjoyed him. You got a stat for me, June? What do you got?
No, I was just saying the Netflix doc is a kid from Coney Island.
Yeah, great doc. I watched it.
7 out of 10 on IMDb and 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I think I watched it maybe like 2 or 3 months ago. And to be honest, I wasn't a big Stephon Marbury fan. I do have a Slam magazine somewhere with both of them on the cover.
Oh, dude, I still have the one with him, Camby, that draft class, Kobe. They're all on there. Garnett was on there too. Yeah, Garnett, Marbury, they were all on that cover.
Some great players overall. Not a big fan, but I do like what he did in Minnesota. I didn't love him as much when he got to Boston, but I appreciated what he did, and coming to that team ultimately led them to a championship. So,
hey, he was a player, man. End of the day, he was a player. He was a very good player.
He's a bucket. He's a bucket, man.
Yeah.
Okay, to the man, the Mamba, the Black Mamba. What I originally coined as the most Jordan-esque player of all time. When I first saw him, I think he's as close as he's going to get. I mean, the game is modeled directly and mentored directly. So
the fadeaway, everything.
I'll let you go with Kobe first, and then I'll take my piece.
Where to go? This kid out of Lower Merion getting drafted, traded for Vlade Divac, ending up in the big pines out in LA. The big palm trees in LA. You got to see this kid grow up in front of your eyes.
Oh yeah.
The way he matured, the way he got better, the way he pushed himself, his competitiveness, the fact that he was in Jordan's shadow, he knew it, he relished it. The relationship between those two was I think the closest you'll ever hear someone talk about conversations with Michael Jordan is going to did come from Kobe Bryant.
Not even close.
I don't think anyone else knew Mike the way that Kobe did. Because I think Mike looked at Kobe like that's his little brother, and he was a part of the family. And like I've said before in the past, I would love to have been a fly on the wall while these guys were talking basketball, talking how they break guys down, how they game plan, how they do this, how they do that. But, the one thing that I always remember about Kobe was when he's on Jimmy Kimmel. Or no, it wasn't Kimmel. It was the other guy. Does a late night.
Leno O'Brien.
No.
Letterman.
No, he used to be on SNL.
Fallon.
When he was on Fallon, and they were showing the clip of a couple of guys celebrating a win after they had lost 16. And he sat there and stared at the screen.
That was the Lakers.
Yeah. And he was injured. That's when he messed up his wrist. And he sat there and he stared at it in so much disgust that these guys were celebrating when that team was trash. Like they were going nowhere because Kobe was down. And it just showed you that like he was from the old school. And he was an old school basketball player in like this emerging market in terms of what the NBA is like right now. It's all the flash, the hip hop, the dancing, the benches getting up when one of their own players gets dropped by another one on a crossover.
By stepping on his foot.
Yeah.
Didn't even get crossed.
No. And he respected the game a lot. And he gave the game a lot. I don't think, nothing but respect to the other two guys, but this literally could have been one person going in and no one would have complained about it. This is a guy who belongs in the Hall of Fame. Get another statue of him in there. This guy needs to have his number retired, both of them, across the entire NBA. Hang those two jerseys from the rafters and just pay respect to the guy that carried the game before LeBron did. Everyone wants to talk about LeBron and how he's the GOAT, this or that. No. This guy is the guy that carried the game until LeBron was mature enough to start taking over. And I'll you know what? As long as I live, I'll never forget the impact that Kobe made on me just watching him and learning more about his life. So, it's a posthumous award, but he's where he belongs.
Yeah, Kobe for me, he's number 2 easily behind Jordan. What's funny is I actually didn't like Kobe. Didn't like him because when he came into the league, Jordan's still my guy. Yeah. Right? So I hated on him big time because, there's the threat of taking over that throne. And the hate is not because I don't appreciate his game. I appreciated his game. But I appreciated it even more when there's that span in between his championship runs. Yeah. He stuck it out in LA, 20 seasons with the team. There's ups and downs, Shaq of it all, Phil Jackson, triangle, different players in and out, but staying competitive continuously and having that will to continue and build that legacy. That's one thing, I appreciate LeBron. He's still here. He's definitely up there.
Ring chasing, but he's there.
But the legacy is so important.
It's more important than rings.
Legends never die, right? The famous Sandlot quote, they never die.
Never.
And to stick with one team and through the ups and downs and be able to come back and make I'm not going to lie, even after I had met him and they were going for that second three-peat, I didn't want them to win that. I really didn't, because I didn't want him to get that close to Mike, because that's how much I appreciated Mike's game.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I should have really been celebrating that achievement and the ability to make it back and go for that third title. Well, his 6th title, but third in that three-peat run.
He was that guy that even if you weren't a fan of his team, and I never was, I can still remember staying up late to watch Jordan do this in the Forum in front of Jack Nicholson's face. But if my team was out, and just like you back then, I was a Bulls fan. I wasn't even a Bulls fan. I was just a Michael Jordan fan.
Yep.
I used to wake up early on Saturday mornings to watch Inside Stuff with Ahmad Rashad.
Love it.
And, just ate up everything that you could get on Jordan there. But they did a lot on Kobe too. But he was the one guy who I always looked to see what he did. What did he do? What did he get? Highlights, outside of Jordan. So even if I didn't like his team, I still wanted to see what he was doing, just because you respected the game that he brought so much. You just wanted to kind of see. And at the end of the day, you celebrate greatness, and he was greatness, it's a sad story.
It's the Mamba mentality of it all, right?
Yeah.
You see this peppered throughout the league now. I mean, he's got the most popular shoe in the league in terms of NBA players. I mean, it's just, there's just so many great things about what he did for the game, and not only for the game itself, but for the other players that came up into the league after.
Sure.
Even going into his final seasons, he's still the first guy in, first guy out. This guy's working, putting up shots 3, 4, 5 times a day. He gets up at 5 a.m., puts up 2 hours, goes home, drives his kids to school, back at the gym for 2 hours, goes home, eats lunch, take a nap, back at the gym 2 hours. I mean, the dedication was relentless.
Yeah.
And it showed in his game, and it showed in his work ethic. And can't say enough about the guy. I mean, it should have just been an all Kobe Hall of Fame. Just put 3 Kobe's there. But yeah, great class, and I'm looking forward to see next year's. There has been some names already put out there.
Yeah, Bosch,
Paul Pierce, Bosch,
Russell as a coach, Chris Webber. I guess we shouldn't move too quick without saying a huge congrats to Nav Bhatia for being the first fan elected to the Naismith Hall of Fame. So
first fan in any sport.
First fan in any sport. So congrats, Nav. You deserve it. Super fan. Still not going to, what does he sell again? Hondas? Kias?
Hyundai.
I'm still not going to buy a Hyundai, but anyway, respect to you and everything you've done as the ambassador for the team. So
yeah,
congrats.
Got an opportunity to meet Nav at one of the games. Super nice guy, always taking pictures at halftime, doesn't leave the seat. I mean, I don't know how you could sit there for that long and not use the washroom, but this guy's just an unbelievable fan, never missed a home game. When you really put that into perspective, over 25 seasons, not including the bubble, not including the bubble, and this season where they're in Tampa, super fan is just unbelievable. I mean, I don't even know how many games that is. I'm not going to do the math, but to never miss a game, never miss a home game, and let's not forget, in the last few years, he's been going on to a lot of the playoff away games.
Yes, yeah,
right, ton of games. So hats off to Superfan Nav Bhatia. We appreciate it. Double X City in the comments. We love you, man. We always appreciate the support. Shout out to Double X, Manchester United fan. Hey, Double X, are they going to win this year, or what's the situation with Manchester?
They'll probably win when Harry Kane moves over there.
Oh, snap. That's what he would love. He would love that. He'd be dusting Harry Kane, right?
Yeah.
Second? He said second. Okay, all right. Behind who? Behind who?
Man City.
Confirmed. Okay. All right, Donald Glover.
Yeah, it's kind of refreshing when you get someone coming out of Hollywood, ripping Hollywood. Just not to paraphrase, but to read the actual tweets. So saw people on here having a discussion about how tired they were of reviewing boring stuff, TV and film. We're getting boring stuff and not even experimental mistakes because people are afraid of getting canceled. So they feel like they can only experiment with the aesthetic. Also, because some of them know they're not good. You're on point.
It's like
the stuff coming out of Hollywood, it's regurgitation, it's garbage, and it's almost insulting as someone, as people who watch TV. It's like they're mindless zombies. Just they want to see what's next. They don't care that the same stuff was on and around 20, 30 years ago. And the one thing that I hate is when I see stuff from my childhood being just completely destroyed because there's no new original ideas in Hollywood. So maybe hire some different writers. Maybe start looking at independent people who might be sitting at home banging away on their MacBook, who have scripts that maybe you want to explore. Try something new, because it ain't working, Hollywood.
You know what's interesting though, and just literally as you were speaking, it just popped into my mind. But this generations of production may not be for people younger than us. Right? They have so much ability to watch whatever they want, whenever they want, the YouTube of it all, etc., channels across the board. Maybe they're rebooting stuff because it's nostalgia for us. And you know how nostalgia goes.
It definitely could be, but
we may be the target market for these guys. And that's why they're rebooting things that we want to rip, but then we end up watching, like we mentioned offline, Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Why did we watch it? I don't know.
But, my issue is stuff like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
No, leave that alone. Let John Candy live.
That was comedic genius. The man's dead. Just honor him. But to see, people selling out their souls to, when I can't remember who signed on. Was it Kevin Hart and Will Smith? I think were signed on.
For Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
For Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And
Will Smith, I'm sorry, Will Smith, but you're just not fun. You're just not funny anymore.
At the end of the day, let's not make this about anything other than the fact that this was already a perfect movie. You didn't need to redo it. This isn't a color thing. This isn't anything like that. It's a perfect movie. It's like if someone told me they're going to remake Juice. Why?
Wow, leave Juice alone.
Why would you do that? Or New Jack City? No, you don't need to.
Leave Dino Brown alone.
The way they are, and it hurts that they just regurgitate this material instead of writing a new movie. Take the premise, change it up, make a new movie. Don't call it Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Do something new. Engage people.
That's the thing. Take the same concept, spin it, change it in a different way a little bit, change the name. It doesn't have to be the same thing or a reboot, right?
People are going to watch it because of the star power. They're not going to care that it's a remake of another movie. They won't care. Okay. Anyway, so Muskoka.
Yes.
What are we thinking about this?
It's actually really great. I actually really enjoyed this beer. It has that citrus taste, although I'm surprised they didn't really mention it in the back. I was actually expecting them to mention those notes of citrus. Mm-hmm. Let us know what you think in the comments if you've had this before. I think it was really great. I think it was one of the better beers that we've had in the lager region so far, and I think this is our third round in the lager region, or third matchup, so we're getting there.
Well, no preservatives. Microbrew, not map brew, sorry, craft brew. I enjoyed it. I really did. What do we got next?
So we're moving up. Yeah. So this one's, you said, is a Polish beer?
It's a Polish beer.
Okay. We just pop up our second deck here.
I mean, it literally says that it's only made in one place and it's never going to change.
I could only get it in the bottle, so this looks like a big boy too.
Yeah, that is a big boy.
1856.
Yeah.
All right, get a fresh glazer.
My daughter's screaming because she wants a taste.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Poland's #1 premium beer.
Sorry, that's her happy sound.
Okay. All right, Junior, cheers on the
Half Italian, she's always screaming. ZYWIEC?
ZYWIEC?
I don't know if that's a proper pronunciation. Either way, salute, mazel tov, dobre. Oh.
You like it?
So clean.
Okay. Maybe I have it in the bottle. I'm getting kind of a feel like the what is it? The Tsing Sao?
Yeah, no, definitely not. New Jack City remake confirmed. Steve Carell.
Oh snap! That's got to be XX. Oh man, he's a funny guy. Steve Carell as no. You know what? You'd want to put
Nino Brown.
No, you'd want to put Steve Carell in King of New York, replacing Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
that could work. And you know what? Steve Carell's, just real quick on Steve Carell, his range has changed completely.
Oh, huge.
Since The Office, this guy is an actor. I don't know if you've seen The Big Short or that wrestling one, Foxcatcher.
Yeah.
He is a legitimate bona fide actor. He's doing really well.
What was the one he did about Noah, where he built the ark?
Was that like Bruce Almighty? One of those one-offs.
It was kind of like that.
Evan Almighty. Evan Almighty, I think.
Yeah. Yes,
that's a bit more of a
Double
comedy.
X Space Force was a dud. I binged that show and regret that I did.
Okay, let's talk about the game. So the game called out Jake Paul and the Paul brothers. Logan Paul saying, "Me and my brother, you and your brother," outside of Staples Center for a street fight.
Who is this guy? Tommy Gunn and Rocky 5?
Oh man, what is the game thinking? I mean, I would love. Listen, I like a big fan of his music. Put out an album.
Nah.
Really?
Just retire and walk away.
Just let it go.
There's a few guys out there that really need to just stop commentating on everything. One of them is someone that we talk about frequently. And I think you already know who that is because of the little smirk on your face.
Who is it? No, I don't know.
No, you don't?
LeBron James?
No, Rappaport.
Oh, Michael Rappaport?
Yeah.
Former fan of
Yeah,
Rappaport.
he comments on too much, and he should just be quiet and fade into the bush like Homer does. The game, he's another guy that likes to talk a lot of smack. And you know what? Everyone's trying to jump on the Paul brothers train. Everyone wants to get paid.
Hey, these guys are making millions of dollars on NFTs with a cartoon of him holding a Pokeball.
Yeah. So I mean, everyone sees that these guys are just a money train and they're trying to get on board. But who are you? Yeah, I get it. You grew up a tough life and you grew up on the streets, and I'm not taking any of that away from you. I'm sure you're a hard dude and you probably pound the crap out of a lot of people. But just get in line. Just talk your smack and walk away. You don't have to challenge them to a street fight in front of the. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say here. I like Game's first album, and I still listen to it to this day. But outside of that, I don't really want to hear from you, man.
Yeah. Next.
All right. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't have any information on this except for Jay-Z was inducted, as well he should be. He is a top 10 rapper for me, maybe top 5. There's a lot of debating there, but definitely in the top 10. He's done a ton for the rap game, billionaire, lot in the culture, especially in the early 2000s, late 90s. Who else made it into the rock and roll?
So it was Tina Turner, Carole King. She was early 70s, kind of that weird porno music style that used to be in the early 70s. The Go-Go's, who were a late 70s, 80s female punk band.
Okay.
Foo Fighters, and Todd Rundgren of the Cars, who's also the father of Liv Tyler. For me, just to comment on Jay-Z, he used to be top 5 until he went into Nas, and when Nas destroyed him, he basically got flown out of the top 10 for me.
They're very close now.
They are now,
and Nas is under his label.
Yeah, but I think that's more or less because he's trying to invest in something he knows is good. But when they were going back and forth at each other, and I still remember having these conversations with guys who were just diehard Jay-Z fans, and I'm like, how do you think that he won that battle? There was absolutely no way he won that battle. I'm sorry. Like
I would put Nas's catalog up against Jay-Z's any day. I saw Nas live in 2008 at Cool House in Toronto. He did an hour and 45 minutes, all bangers.
Yeah. He's
there
one
wasn't
of the
a
best
bad
lyricists.
song. Yeah, there wasn't a bad song. He's top 3 for me, easy. He might be my top.
And then the Foo Fighters, I enjoy the music. My wife loves the music. We've seen them at a couple of shows, and so, it's kind of great to see that the recognition that they've got. But I think for Jay-Z, the things he's done for music itself in terms of making it more accessible, giving power back to the artists. I think it's big. He's done a lot. So, as a philanthropist, not as a rapper, for me, I like Jay-Z the philanthropist, not Jay-Z the rapper.
Okay. I think she's a Jay-Z fan, eh?
No, she's out of the house if she is.
Okay. All right, let's move on to Harry Kane.
This is a tough one for Tottenham.
I want Double X City in the comments here, please. He's a big football fan.
So, where can we go with Harry Kane? 334 caps, 220 goals. He's been with Tottenham since around 2009. National team for about 2015, 53 caps, 34 goals. Let's go back to Harry Kane in the beginning. He got cut by Arsenal at their training academy for being a bit too chubby. That was at 8 years old. So he did a stint with, I think it was West Ham. And then Tottenham picked him up, and he's been there ever since. And in 2018, he became the top goal scorer for Tottenham. He is, at the end of the day, probably outside of Sheringham, probably the greatest Spur ever. And I said it in bets, the best that we did last week. If this team doesn't start to right itself, Harry's going to leave, and it hasn't right itself. And unfortunately, I think it's more management than it is the team itself. They do have a pretty decent team. So, I'm still going to cheer him on. I'm still going to bet him. Love the prop bets of him scoring goals. Guy's almost scoring a goal every almost 2 games, which is crazy. But it's going to be a big hit for Tottenham. And if he leaves, it's going to be very tough to get guys out the transfer window. They're going to have to start spending some ridiculous money bringing guys out of the EPL in there. So it's going to be a tough go for the Spurs. They might be taking a hit for a little while.
I got to ask you, Junior, because you mentioned bets, and we do a lot of the betting stuff Friday, Saturday, Sundays. We're going to start releasing everything on Friday morning, I think.
Yeah,
kind of like afternoon. So you guys are going to have everything well in advance of the weekend. So definitely look out for that. And we're going to go sport by sport now, as opposed to day by day. But I've seen some prop bets on where he might land. Is this a thing for football and soccer? They bet on where this guy might end up getting traded to?
Dude, you can walk into the books in South London and bet on anything you want to. You have to remember in the old country, this is life. We talked about how the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, it's all business.
Sports entertainment.
But football in the old country is life. And this is like basically your parents getting divorced if you're a Spurs fan. Well, it might actually hit harder than a parent's divorce with Kane leaving. He's been the face of that program for 12 years, 13 years. He grew up in that system, so it's going to be a tough goodbye. But at the end of the day, he's still going to be with the national team, still going to World Cups and Euros. So you still get to see him. But for me, if I were to bet on anything, he does have a close relationship with Mo Salah, so he could end up in a number of places.
Double X City is saying he's going to City.
He could go to City. He could end up in Liverpool. He's a good talent. He's a big boy. For me, if I'm a betting man, just because of that relationship he's got with Aguero and Salah, I could see him going to Pool. But that's just me.
So City's saying here that Liverpool can't afford him. I'm going to pop that up on screen.
No, they can't. They've got issues. They definitely do have issues. So if I take Pool out of it, yeah, he does want. Yeah, Salah wants out of Liverpool. So the next guess obviously would be City, because they've got everything they need for guys like that. So right now, basically look at the teams that are in the middle of the table. They're going to have money to spend mostly, and adding a guy like Salah or Kane are going to put them into the top of the table, at least close to it. So
yeah. Okay, let's move on to Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Okay, Zack Snyder's been in the news, a few months ago with regards to his Snyder cut of Justice League.
yeah.
I don't know much about this upcoming film on Netflix, which releases on May 21st, I believe.
21st, yeah.
21st?
Yeah.
What's the expectation for a film like this?
Don't expect the Snyder cut of Justice League. So let's break it down. Zombie outbreak. Gang of mercenaries find none other than Dave Bautista flipping pancakes and breaking eggs in a diner. They offer him a boatload of cash, which, I mean, in the zombie world seems a little bit useless. But they're going to run a heist in Las Vegas and take down a casino or something. I think it's the mindless dribble that we need right now.
Okay.
on the 21st, I will be tuning in very much to see some action, some zombie outbreak movie. I do love the genre, so a little horror and some comedy with Batista in there might be exactly what your weekend needs. So Army of the Dead, I will be tuning in.
Okay, I'm not a big. I think this is in the horror genre.
Yeah, it's
probably like more of a
comedy
horror. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm not a big like gore horror kind of fan. I like comedies. I like really comedies is what I like. Some action. There's got to be some comedic effect, otherwise I kind of tune out. Unless it's like a movie like Ford versus Ferrari, something like that, which I watched recently, which was really good.
It was.
I'll check it out. You know what? Friday night seems like a good night, depending on what kind of sports are on.
Dude, you turn the brain off and you just consume.
Just enjoy it, eh?
Yeah, that's it. You don't have to think about it. You're not watching Saving Private Ryan. You're not watching anything that's going to make you think about, oh my God, what's
That's
around
a great movie.
That's an amazing movie. It's one of my favorites. I watch it several times a year.
Absolutely. No, that's an incredible film. And I remember seeing that. I think that would have been right around like maybe when like Dolby first came out.
Yeah.
Man, the sound of those bullets and whatnot. Oh man, what a great movie.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Olympics. So these are supposed to be hosted in Tokyo.
In Japan, yeah.
Yeah. So it's possible these might be canceled now.
Yeah. The medical professionals in Japan are urging the government to shut it down. As you can see, what's going on in India right now, prayers to India. I hope that they can kind of get this under control, but they're having an outbreak of epic proportions there right now. And there's some fear of a backlash. There's a new contagion, a new strain coming out that seems to be even worse than all the other ones.
Yeah.
So, if we're talking about our young athletes who have been pushing in these sports and that we stand behind, I would probably look to each and everyone's governments to basically say that they're not going to send their people. It's a very simple thing because you get one person in those villages, they're so tight in there. There's not a lot of space. So you get an outbreak, even one case, it's going to just blow up. So I think for the Olympic advisors, as much as they want this to go on, it's probably better you just shut it down and delay it.
What, if any, do you think Euro is going to happen?
Well, the good thing that they've done over there is they've limited the attendance. They haven't gone full bore like they have in baseball and.
You see that Hurricanes game last night?
Yeah, dude. Phenomenal ending.
It's like 20,000 in the stadium or whatever.
Yeah, so the NHL they've started to let more fans in. Apologies for the sounds here. She's not a happy camper.
We've all had those days.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to see fans back in there. It makes me upset because I want to go to a Jays game. I'd love to go catch a first round game here with the Leafs against the Canadians. It brings me back.
That's what you live for.
Yeah, it brings me back to when I was standing at the Forum, half bowl up. $10 tickets, just getting plastered in Montreal and then going out afterwards. it's tough to sit back and kind of take that in without being able to be there. But I think that Euro is going to be set up in a fashion where, you know, they're going to be okay. So I definitely see them going through. But I think just the you have to remember how massive the Olympics are. We're not talking about like 10 people from each country. We're talking about delegations of hundreds of people and coaches, you know, liaisons, assistants, directors of each of the country's Olympic committees, officials. You get those guys in there into a small little area, and you get an outbreak pop up. You know, they're quarantining there, and they ain't coming home for a long time. So, you know, I think they have to step back and really think hard about this in terms of if it's really worth it to go through with this. I mean, it might be one of the first times in the modern era where it would actually be canceled, but you know, it might make sense to do so.
Yeah. It you know, I like the Olympics. I'm more of a summer guy than I'm a winter guy, for sure. I like the racing event, like the running events, you know, 100 meter, 200 meter, 400, that kind of stuff. It would be a shame to lose it, but you know, in the essence of safety and health protocols, I would understand if it gets pushed out. It almost actually, if it did that, it would kind of line back up where they used to do it every 4 years in the same year, because it would be scheduled for winter, I believe, in 2022.
Yeah, it would be. They're 2 years, so it's a 2 year kind of back and forth.
Yeah. Okay, so
yeah, stuff.
Yeah, so that's the Olympics. Okay, so ZYWIEC. Somebody let us know how to say it in the comments. But what was your thoughts on this? Since the very beginning, we read this already, right?
Yeah.
Pure Mountain Water.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Go first.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I don't love it. I think Muskoka is going to be my winner of this matchup. It was a tastier beer, and I like the freshness of it, especially the after kind of effects, the aftertaste. I just think it was a better beer overall. I think it was a better quality beer.
So it's ZYWIEC.
ZYWIEC. Okay.
ZYWIEC.
I'm gonna just show the bottle there. Actually, I do like the kind of the graphics on there as well. Yeah,
it's a nice bottle.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I actually like ZYWIEC, but that Muskoka just came out of nowhere.
Had you had ZYWIEC before?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to give a nice broad range to everything. But you know, that Muskoka, just sitting in the backyard in a Muskoka chair with an ice cold Muskoka. In Muskoka, lakefront, watching the boat bob and weave out of the water. It kind of hit me pretty hard. I'm gonna have to say that for me, this is an upset, but I think Muskoka has taken down ZYWIEC.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It was definitely more tasty. It was more refreshing. It just had a fresher taste to it, right?
It was a nicer finish.
Yeah. There was like a little hint of citrus at the end, and then it just kind of rolled into, you know, no taste. Where with the ZYWIEC, I kind of have like a bitter aftertaste, almost like drinking like a coffee without sugar.
It's a little more malty, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and so we're both crowning Muskoka as the winner of this matchup. So that was a great cast, Junior. I think that's a wrap for us. Hope the baby's doing well, and
yeah, she's eating now.
Feels a little better. Okay, there we go. So thank you for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button below. We mentioned a PS5 giveaway, so look out for that video, which will come in the next couple of days or so. Turn the notifications on so that you can understand how to get your multiple entries in and all that jazz. So thank you for everybody here at Offside Out of Bounds. I'm Adam.
I'm Junior.
See ya real soon.